So Sterling, imagine your 20-year-old self is sitting across from you today. What would you make sure he understood before walking out of the room?
If there was one piece of advice I'd give him in regards to like women, it's simply that women are rating 80% of men as below average in attractiveness, which statistically makes no sense, but that's how they're expressing it.
Do you actually think the 1% is 1%?
It was something like top 1% had about 250 plus sexual partners, bottom 30% had like one. I'm butchering the numbers exactly here, so I don't have them in front of me. People were shitting on like red pill manosphere creators for saying like 80-20 rule. Turns out it's way worse than that.
Yeah. Stirling Cooper, welcome to the Manners Maketh Man podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you here. I want to start with this. Take us back. Who was Stirling Cooper before the success, before the influence? What experiences shaped the way you see the world today?
Shit, who was he? He was fucking no one. How far back do you want to go? I used to be, I was like an apple picker. I was working on farms and shit as a kid. Like pruning plums, thinning apples, thinning grapes. I was a lifeguard at my local pool. I was a waiter at an Italian restaurant. I was a lab assist. I was like a lab tech teacher at university, and then I was a lab technician, and then I was like a pharmaceutical research chemist, and then a oil and gas research chemist, and then I ran a paleo meal delivery business, and then I decided to take a hard right turn and got into like escorting for wealthy businesswomen, and then got into pornography.
Okay.
And then COVID hit, and I started a YouTube channel based around teaching men how to be better in the bedroom.
Yep.
And that seems to have done quite well. There was a lot of demand for it.
I suppose you're hitting on quite a lot of pain with that discussion, right? Because a lot of men are going through those problems right now. Yeah. What kind of made you want to go into the adult industry?
Bro, there's no like nice answer. It was just pure self-interest, pure degeneracy, pure shits and giggles. Honestly, like I ran this like paleo meal delivery business for like a number of years, and like I was just grinding and kind of going nowhere with it. Like we kind of capped, because I'm from Perth, Western Australia, world's most isolated capital city.
Yeah.
So like Australia doesn't have like the logistics of like England or America where I could send stuff across the country. Like it's a desert, bro.
So for business, it's
just capped. Like I literally reached like the market cap within like 2 years, and it was like the business couldn't grow.
Right.
So I was like, we sold it to a supplier, and I sort of sat there thinking like, why am I grinding? Like what? Like I had kind of an existential like thought process of like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this so I can make money. Well, why do I want to make money? So I can like, and I was just being really honest with myself. I was like, I want to travel around the world and sleep with beautiful women.
I
was just being honest. You know, it wasn't some like ethereal like, you know, it wasn't like a passion project. I was like, so how can I shortcut that? And I'm like, okay, I could try doing this thing.
Yeah. What was the money like with that?
Broke, bro.
Really?
Broke. Like for the first like couple of years, like in Australia, and then I came to England and I shot in England, and then Europe, pennies.
Really?
Like I'm making bugger all. When I got to America, the pay jumped right up. In America, you'd make it a bit more. I was making like $500, $600 a scene in America, but out here it was like £50, £100, like €100, a couple hundred euros in Europe. Like it wasn't much.
What was the difference then between what you were making compared to what women were making?
They're making at least double.
Right. Okay.
If not more. And well, here in Europe, they're making considerably more. They're pulling in like 1,000 a scene.
Yeah.
Like US.
Right.
Like in America, that's kind of like the base rate for a new girl, and then like it jumps up with like how popular she is and how many like if she's doing something that's a bit more demanding, you know, like a group scene or maybe a BDSM scene or whatever, like her rate jumps up.
What would you say the difference was in terms of like how many men were in the industry compared to the women?
Oh, so the easiest way to talk about it is the US, because it's kind of like the industry I know the best, or the landscape I know the best. The funny thing is that, you know, people think of female porn stars as like having a really high body count, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, objectively, they do. But it's not as big as you'd think, because there's only like, realistically, across all of the continental US, there's probably only about like 20 to 30 guys who are shooting consistently.
Right.
And the women are having sex with those same 20, 30 guys. So it's like...
Lucky you.
So there's probably... And there's like a couple of hundred at least a couple hundred like female performers in the talent pool at any given time.
Okay.
So you realistically, you're like their body count is only probably like those 30 guys.
Do you think there's any psychology within that? Like, it's harder to convince a guy to go into the adult industry over women?
You asking if it's harder to convince a guy to get into porn?
Yes.
It's way easier to convince a guy to get into it.
Why would there be less?
But it's harder for him to do it.
Right. Okay. So why is it
it's
harder?
way harder for him to like even like it's a game of who you know. The key to me actually even getting into the industry was actually a networking thing.
Right. Okay.
That's actually why I think I did pretty well in the YouTube game, because the same principles that allowed me to get like booked in porn have allowed me to like create a network of people I can do podcasts with. It's the same skill set, that networking skill set, and knowing who knows who, and figuring out like the kind of the spider web of like who's connected to who, who's a friend of who, and like, you know, getting people to speak on your behalf and I guess sell you to someone else so you can get a booking or you can get a podcast. It's the same skill set. So like they don't want to try out new people. When they do, it's a risk because he might fail and you've just lost thousands of dollars on a shoot.
It's performance based, right?
It's
I guess for the man.
Yeah. Like if he doesn't do his job, no one gets paid.
Yeah, no,
there's no scene to sell.
Yeah.
So it's a high pressure kind of scenario.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone in the room, like the girl, the director, the camera guy, the assistant, the makeup girl, everyone's wage depends upon you getting an erection.
It's very true. I mean, so who is the product in that then? Is it the woman or
She's
is
the
it
product?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the facilitator.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the analogy I've used in the past is like if you imagine a beautiful sports car, like she's the chassis, she's the leather interior, she's the sleek design. I'm the engine under the hood.
Yeah.
It don't run without him. Without the dude in that, it doesn't run.
It doesn't tick. Yeah.
It doesn't tick. But she's the product.
Yeah.
Like
Understood.
her sexuality is what people are buying.
Yeah.
You know?
You got into the adult industry in the pursuit of wanting to be with beautiful women. Do you think that came from any level of insecurity at all?
You know what I think it came from? It came from the fact I grew up in a really tiny town.
Okay.
So like my dating pool
Was
for
very
most of my
small.
life
Yeah.
was about 10 girls.
Okay.
Realistically, of the entire, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, of
like
course,
my high school class. So like we do it a bit differently in Australia to here, but we name it really like years 1 through 10, and then you do like years 11 and 12 till you like if you want to go to university. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So years 1 through 10, I'm in the same town. So I'm with the same. I go through puberty with the same women I've grown up. I did kindergarten with, which is about like my class is probably like 20, 30 people total.
Yeah.
Total, you know. So there's like 10 girls.
Yeah.
That I like, you know, it's not many. And then I go to year 11 and 12, and that doubles a bit because I'm from a tiny place.
But you're always getting small doses, is what you're saying.
Well, it's like there isn't that many beautiful women to choose from.
Yeah.
So then when I get to university, I'm in a big city. I'm like, oh wow, there's so many beautiful women here. Having a high sex drive as a young man, not really having an outlet for it.
Yeah.
Realistically,
Yeah.
having an outlet for it kind of made me more obsessed with like the female form and sex and beauty. Like I got into porn. I got exposed to porn at a young age. I don't know if I've actually talked about this before, so it's a good question.
Okay.
My first exposure to anything pornographic was on my older brother's computer.
Right.
My brother's 10 years older than me, and he had like anime porn on his computer.
Right,
I was like going through his computer, like looking for video games, and I came across like a folder which was like labeled like something.
Yeah.
And I was out of curiosity. I shouldn't have, retrospectively, should have done it. Bit of a rude thing to do going for your brother's computer, but we shared the computer to play video games on.
Yeah.
You know, so like I went for this folder, saw a bunch of like anime porn. I'm like, what is this? And like teenage boy, like
you're curious.
Curious.
You got to
blah,
check
blah,
it
blah.
out.
And this is back at like I'm 39, bro. This is the back of the day when like when you got an internet connection and you went to look for porn, you had to wait for the titties to download.
So it was
like literally
way
like a
less accessible.
JPEG, like
Yeah.
would load in. You'd see her face first, and you'd be waiting, and like it would take like a good couple of minutes to see a picture. It's so different from what like teenage boys are exposed to now when they're on their phone and they get like the world's supply of pornography.
Have you
at
heard
their
of the Henry VIII saying where it's like the young lad gets all the access to all the women through the porn, but like obviously back in your day you're describing it as you literally had to wait and be patient to go and get it, which is crazy.
Well, you still didn't have to. You still didn't do anything for it. Like you're still getting it at the click of a button.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is not how you're like. That's not how we're biologically designed, and that's why I think like the pornography thing is so like it's so pervasive because it taps into like such a deep primal instinct for men. It's like unlimited access to unlimited amounts of sexual diversity without any effort.
It's going to kill something inside of you, your testosterone, your drive, your dopamine.
Well, it screws the dopamine receptors. We know that it does that.
Yeah.
But I think from a metaphysical standpoint, from a bit more of a woo-woo standpoint, if you want to call it that, it's like you're not working for that access to sexuality. You've done nothing. You've sat there, jerked off into a tissue. You've clicked a few buttons on a computer screen or swiped on a phone screen, and you've seen a lot of different beautiful women. Like your grandfather your grandfather had to work and court your grandmother to have sex with her. You know, which is the human mating ritual is designed that way.
That's the natural process.
It's the natural process. The human mating ritual is not designed with the iPhone in mind.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't evolve with the iPhone. So it's a dangerous can of worms. Like, it's a Pandora's box that we've opened up, and it's like there's a really good book that was it's a really recent book. It's I think it's called The Anxious Generation.
Right. Okay.
Hope I'm getting the name right. But it talks about how, you know, teenagers growing up with smartphones and social media have led to like higher rates of anxiety and depression.
Makes sense, yeah.
For boys and girls, actually, for boys, but it's higher for women. It's higher for girls.
Have you watched a Netflix show called The Social Network?
I've seen the movie The Social Network. I haven't seen anything recent.
Sorry, not The Social Network, The Social Dilemma.
No.
There's a guy called Tristan Harris. He's the producer of the program, and he breaks down like the depression we see in young women and young men as well, of course. But it basically, the premise of the program shows that with social media, you know, even women's idea of their beauty standards has become so like in your face, like you've got to look this certain way. It's going to lead to depression at some point.
Of course.
Your message is don't watch porn, correct?
Yeah. I've been doing this I've been on YouTube for 6 years.
Yeah.
Like, you can go back to my first ever YouTube interview back in like April, I think, of 2020.
Yeah.
One of the first things I say is, guys should stop watching porn.
Yeah.
And I'm still in the industry then.
Did you start your personal brand in 2020? Was that like the kickstart of it all?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Like, I mean, I had like Twitter from like being a porno star. Like that's like that was the social media for the adult industry. That's how you networked.
Yeah.
So I had like a bit of a following from that and a little bit on my Instagram, but I didn't have I didn't have a YouTube presence. What
made you want to do that? What was it inside of you that you wanted to have an impact on other people?
Prior to like me starting the YouTube stuff, that happened in 2020 after all the lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
Work ran dry, couldn't pay rent. I'm like, shit. Branched into like the YouTube side of things and doing interviews and things. Prior to that, I had already been writing like kind of like a manual for men, because I'm a bit autistic, and I look at sex from like a really like a machine in a weird way. So like I try to break down like why these things work, why the human body works the way it does, what things create stronger erections, what things create, you know, make you last longer, what things trigger an orgasm in a woman, etc. Right? And so I just created this like manual over like my years in the porn industry. I just wrote down every biohack I could think of, everything I had learned during the course of my career, and I'd learned from like other older veteran performers. If they gave me some piece of advice, I sort of just added it to this manual.
Yeah.
And then I'd already been writing this thing, and then like COVID rolled around, worked right up, and I'm like, all right, let's sell this thing. Let's put it together in a nice package, trying to put it out there. And so I did that, and within like a month, I like replaced my income. Yeah. I was like, okay, there's a demand for this. This is really interesting. Started going on a few podcasts, and I had one guy say, you should do a YouTube channel like on this, because you got a lot of information to share. I'm like, cool, let's try it. There was people responded to it. People really liked it. And that's kind of where I took it off. I was just like, okay, great. People want this information. I've got loads of information to share. Let's get it out there.
I want to go back into your mindset a little bit. Do you think the way you think matched the adult industry, and did even being in the adult industry actually change your way of thinking at all?
Yeah, I think I'm an anomaly.
Yeah.
In the adult industry.
You seem like an anomaly in that.
One of the funniest bits of feedback I've ever gotten is like, I heard people say, you seem very well adjusted for someone who's been in porn. Which I'll take as a compliment. Great. People in the porn industry are actually a lot more intelligent than people give them credit for. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who fit the stereotype. The stereotypes probably account for like 40% of the performers.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
And then the rest are like, You know, women who went to university came out, like, went from being like an ugly duckling to a beautiful swan in their 20s, and then, like, you know, kind of went down this path. A lot of the dudes are like, you know, former like collegiate athletes, so like track and field, or like boxing, or Muay Thai, or like race car driving. Like there's this breadth of guys who are like really good at something athletic or like, you know, physical, and then they transitioned into this and were really good at it, you know. So there's a lot of parallel there with like dudes being good under pressure, and being good at this job, unsurprisingly, you know. So when I started to like, I just looked for patterns. So like I started to recognize all these patterns. I'm like, oh, why are these guys like in the industry? Like originally I wanted to do like because I come from a scientific background. I've got a chemistry degree, and I worked in research. Like, interesting, I'm a published scientific author, actually.
Oh, wow.
Like in my undergraduate degree, like me and my lab, like, what do you call it, my supervisor, we published an article together. And when I got into porn industry, I really wanted to do, like, and I still haven't done it, but I'd love to do it still. And I'm a bit bigger, maybe I should do it. I wanted to do, like, a study on male porn stars' brains. And like their hormone levels, so testosterone levels, prolactin levels. I'm obsessed with prolactin because I think prolactin is the key to the male sex drive.
Does that drop when you watch pornography?
Yes. Well, no, prolactin goes up when you excessively masturbate.
Does it go up with sex by having sex?
Initially, like during orgasm, when a man orgasms, his prolactin spikes.
Interesting.
Right, and high prolactin and dopamine are inversely correlated. So when prolactin's high, dopamine's low, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
But when prolactin is high, you get your sex drive basically disappears. You get a lot of high levels of prolactin are correlated with more sort of feminine traits in men. Yeah. So if you have too high prolactin, you can actually get bitch tits. Like
really?
Things like this.
Interesting.
So if you're excessively jerking off all the time and your prolactin is constantly high, like you're not necessarily going to have the highest like drive. You're going to be lower energy, probably a bit more lethargic, less driven. Like there's a lot of consequences to having really high prolactin. But the funny thing, the really interesting thing to me was there was a study done on a guy who was like, it was just one dude they were studying because it's so rare to find this. But this dude was naturally multi-orgasmic.
Right.
And they did his blood work, basically. Like, so he could ejaculate and he would stay rock hard, and he could keep having sex and ejaculate again, stay rock hard. That level of like multi-orgasmic, like truly naturally multi-orgasmic. And they did his blood work, and he didn't have this. So when a man orgasms, he gets a dump of prolactin in his brain, and that's what causes the male refractory period. That kind of recovery time.
Understood.
That men need. That is caused by prolactin. He didn't have that at all. So he could just go again and again and again and again. And there's anecdotal stuff from bodybuilders. So I used to jump on bodybuilding forums and look for like peptides and like anything really, any little edge I could get, right? Some bodybuilders who were experimenting with a drug called cabergoline, which is a Parkinson's medication, but they were getting it on the black market and taking it. And cabergoline, if you know anything about Parkinson's, cabergoline dumps prolactin and causes your dopamine to go up. Right. So these bodybuilders were taking cabergoline and were becoming multi-orgasmic.
Wow.
And they're like, what the fuck is this? It didn't work for everybody. But some of the guys who were doing it were reporting this. And it's like, holy shit. So that thing and then this one guy they were studying, I'm like, there's got to be something behind this. So I developed, when I was in the industry, I just basically found every like supplement I could find that would reduce prolactin, and that was my stack,
right,
to keep my sex drive high before I went on set, so I could do my job.
Very interesting. People often assume that women are the most objectified people in the adult industry. I've heard you argue this before, that the men are just as objectified,
if not more.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm just a penis on camera. Like if you watch the whole, people skip most of the porno, but if you look at the whole porno, you look at like how much time on screen is her face on screen and how much time on screen is the guy's face on screen. She gets a hell of a lot more screen time. The dude is literally just a penis.
He's just an
object. He is he could just be a dildo. Like the whole focus of the porno was her face, her reaction, her personality, her enthusiasm, her pleasure, her enjoyment. It's all focusing on her. He is literally just an object. So you could make the argument that porn objectifies men and women, but it definitely objectifies men way more.
Yeah,
because it reduces us just to a penis.
It's very interesting. What would you say like some human psychology is that you learn from being in that space?
The thing that I find retroactively looking back at it, I didn't really know this at the time, but since I've been in, I guess you could say the manosphere, the red pill space, the men's self-help sort of space, there's the concept of hypergamy.
Yeah,
floats around a lot in this space, and that's to kind of give a brief summary of that. That's the idea that this idea that women have like a dual mating strategy, and that women are kind of looking to date up, like status wise, right? They're looking for a man who, generally across the board, they're looking for a guy who makes more money than them. Generally, they're looking for a guy who has at least equal or higher social status than them, right? So, the thing that I was kind of, I didn't realize this at the time, but the thing I was doing by getting into porn was I was trying to circumnavigate female nature. I was trying to find a way to get sex without having to compete, really. Right? Because everything else, like every other way that men get sex is through some form of competition. I make more money. I'm a better athlete than you. You know,
So they're peacocking, right? It's like to say, I'm here and you should come into my world.
It's a status competition.
Yeah.
Every way that men get women is some kind of status competition. Like in the club, they're popping more bottles.
Sure.
You know, they've got a bigger YouTube channel, got a bigger Instagram account, they're flexing, but whatever it is, it's some kind of attention game for status, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, fuck all this. I'll just cut the middleman out and go straight to the sex part to get paid for it, right? So I was trying to, without realizing it, I was trying to circumnavigate around the female instinct of hypergamy, which is what creates male competition.
Yeah.
Right? That fight, that vying for status to get a sexual access, right? The thing I didn't realize when I realized this when I got to America, you start going to like industry parties, just house parties, which it's only like, you know, performers and like PAs and like maybe a couple of directors. It's just industry people. And you get to parties like that and you realize, oh shit, you can't escape it, because all the dudes who are like winning awards or like they're the most popular performer, all the women are hanging out with him, even at the party. Now, I've had sex with half the women in this room.
But it makes no difference.
It didn't make a difference. Once you're offset in the party environment, didn't make any shred of difference. Female nature kicked in.
Yeah.
And I found that, like, looking back on it retroactively, I'm like, that's fascinating.
It's very fascinating.
It's like, no matter, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
You know, a tiger
it's
has
biology,
stripes.
right?
It's biology.
I want to dive into a bit of biology, and I want to dive into a bit of like society and kind of the path we're going down. But first, now you've gained status in a different way, and you've got your YouTube channel, you know, you've built influence. Do you think monogamy is a challenge for you?
You know what? It was a challenge up until the girl I'm dating right now, because I actually like this one. So that,
okay,
which sounds retarded, but it was a challenge because I didn't actually. I dated a series of women that I didn't actually like hanging out with.
Yeah.
Looking back on it retrospectively, the hard part was like wanting to spend time with them.
Do you think though that men need to sleep around to get that out of their system, or do you think it is like a lack of control?
If you strip away all of society, right, and you just go with our base instincts, what do you get? You get, we're kind of there now. Like if you look at, this is going to be a long answer to a very simple question. If you look at what we've done with social media, right, we've basically given women access to all men on earth. And we've created what we refer to as a globalized sexual marketplace, a globalized dating marketplace, right? Any man with an Instagram can talk to any woman with an Instagram, realistically.
100%.
Right? So Joe Schmo, who's a butcher in a small town, is competing with the Sultan of Dubai or some shit. Like that's an extreme example.
Yeah.
But the principle holds. So what has that produced? That is, we've basically got a society with what we would call unrestricted hypergamy.
Yes.
So female nature is just being female nature. So you look at like dating app data. You're seeing like women are rating 80% of men as below average in attractiveness, which statistically makes no sense, but that's how they're expressing it. You know, so they're saying like 80% of guys I'm not into. That's what they're saying.
Do you actually think the 1% is 1%, or do you think it's 0.5%, or do you think 0.2%? How?
In terms of who are the top most attractive?
Yeah,
guys?
like how low is that percentage getting as we go on in time?
Well, there was a I think it's GCC data or GCS data. I forget the exact abbreviation that came out of the US recently, and it basically grouped people into percentiles in terms of who's having sex. And I believe I don't want to butcher the numbers, but it was something like the top 10% had something like over 250 sexual partners.
Interesting.
And the bottom 30% of this is men.
Yeah.
This is men.
Yeah.
Top 1%, something like that, had about 250 plus sexual partners. Bottom 30% had like one. So like it was skewing massively.
Yeah.
So like the top 1% were having like half the sex of all of the society. It's like, I'm butchering the numbers exactly here, so I don't have them in front of me. But it was really like people were shitting on like red pill manosphere creators for saying like 80-20 rule. Turns out it's way worse than that. Turns out we were off the mark because we were underestimating.
Yeah.
So that's quite crazy. To get back to the point of like, so we've got this like globalized dating marketplace. So you have when you take the societal restriction, the societal guardrails off human nature, of female nature particularly, we get hypergamy. And what has that led to? It's basically led to soft polygamy. It's basically led to soft polygamy, where like a small percentage of guys at the top have a lot of sexual access, and the rest are fighting over crumbs.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, but it's, if you think about it, it's like, well, all we've done is we've taken away like the Christian, like societal Western civilizational guard rules of like, hey, we're going to be like, because we had this social contract.
Yeah.
We've broken the social contract. That's a better way of saying it. We had this social contract for not that long, by the way, probably only for a few hundred years, right? Of recorded history, of primarily European history, where we're like, okay, one man, one woman, monogamy. This way, every man gets a wife. We don't end up in civil war because like everyone's jealous of the king having, or the emperor or whatever, or the sultan having like a harem of a couple of hundred women. Every man gets like, we're gonna have a bit, like we're gonna share. We're gonna divide that up a bit more evenly, so we can have a functioning society, so we can have economy, and so we can have like, we can build this.
Yeah.
We didn't have this until that happened.
And the cherry on the cake with it all is kind of feminism in a way as well. Because like, I guess...
we created a society that enabled it.
Is the patriarchy that bad?
You couldn't have had feminism without a patriarchal society.
Exactly.
Because a patriarchal society, which was looking after it wasn't looking after the interests of like the top percentage of men. That's the key thing to understand about it. About our patriarchal, basically Western Christian past, is that it was looking after all men. It's like, it's not just saying, hey, you've all got to fight to be the top dog. No, we're going to structure society in a way where we're going to socially enforce monogamy so that every man gets a wife, and we don't have to kill each other over access to women now. We can build a society, and consequently build a society which enables women's rights.
Yeah.
Ironically, it was actually a better deal. Now what we have, we've taken away the guardrails. We have unfettered hypergamy. All we've done is let female nature be female nature. That's all we've actually done. Then it's created soft polygamy. And now women are complaining about it because they're like, why aren't these men I'm attracted to committing to me? Because they don't have to. And then the bottom third, 40, 50% of men are like, there's no women to date.
I think the thing is with what you're saying as well, you see a lot of men, they go through these tough times and they're really trying to like build themselves. If you're a 20-year-old man, you know, you're trying to make money when the older generation are almost taking your money and taking the jobs in a way. You're trying to build yourself up. And I feel like when you do get to the point where you can attract a lot of women, society then tells you can only have one woman. Yeah. And it's kind of like,
what did I play this game for?
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point of playing the capitalism game? It's no point at all.
It's like there's no prize at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no prize. I want to add to your point with a question. Do you think income disparity has played a role in changing relationship dynamics in society? And if so, how?
Yeah, well, so when you have income disparity, and this has been studied over civilizations in the past. When you have that income disparity, where there's say like a sliver of men at the top with most of the resources,
Yeah.
and then a giant chunk of men with no resources, you end up with, take a guess, polygamy. That has been recorded throughout history. That's what you get. And surprise, surprise, we're in a situation again where we're basically getting soft polygamy.
Yeah.
It's like hidden polygamy. Like it's happening. People aren't just really admitting it.
Do you think women are enjoying this right now?
No, I don't think they are, actually.
No.
I don't think they are. But if you listen to them, they sound kind of frustrated with it.
Yeah, no, I would be if I was a woman.
Well, okay, I'll adjust that answer. Women past the age of like 25 aren't enjoying it. Women from like 18 to 25 aren't really caring about it until it's too late.
Is that because they're benefiting from it?
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting all the fun.
Is that where the pendulum swings in your mind? Do we see a generation of women that are going through this tough time right now in terms of finding somebody to settle down with, and they get to 30? And I'll tell you an interesting stat of what I mean. Some of the big banks are actually investing in stuff like box wine and cat toys because they're predicting that women of marriageable age by 2027, I believe it is, will be single for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So do you think it's because of 18 to 25 they're benefiting from it? And does the pendulum swing back into, let's say, the Book of Eli type vibe when they're single at the age of 30? Do then women become mentors to the women and say, we did it all wrong? Or
some women are actually, like some women in my generation or the generation above me, like I'm millennial, some women in Gen X are even coming out and outright saying, I was lied to, this was wrong. And they're trying to warn.
Yeah.
There is a small percentage of women who are actually trying to warn, Gen Z and Zoom and Gen Alpha women, hey, don't fall for this bullshit. But there's a greater majority who are trying to gaslight younger women into making the same mistakes so they can it's sexual competition. It's female sexual competition. They're trying to like gaslight younger women into maybe discarding the power that they, or like not making the most of the power, I guess, for a long-term benefit that they have at their sort of peak fertility. Because women have a lot of power. Like you don't ever see an 18-year-old man getting invited onto a yacht.
No.
You see a lot of 18-year-old women getting invited onto yachts in cities like Miami, LA, whatever, right? And those are obviously extreme examples.
Yeah.
But London too. Like how many 18-year-old women in London are getting invited to like the bottle section of a nightclub? Probably quite a few. Probably very little 18-year-old men getting invited to those same bottle sections.
You have to earn to get to the table. Yeah.
So women who are in that sort of peak fertility range have a lot of power. Now you need to I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but it's what you do with that power. And when older women are not telling those young women, hey, use that power to like lock down a good guy like now. So you've got a good one, that you, like back a good horse, and win the Kentucky Derby.
I think it's quite a difficult balance for women though, because I feel like it's almost like they're in a casino and they've got poker chips and they're trying to place chips on that guy, but they're like, this guy looks good as well.
I'll give you a better analogy.
Okay.
It's blackjack.
Yeah.
She's been dealt a hand of 18. Does she hit or does she hold?
Does she twist or stick? Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
Right? It's blackjack.
No,
that's what they're playing. They're playing blackjack.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're just trying to hit all the time.
Yeah.
And they're busting. I've never heard a better analogy.
Yeah.
Because it's like young girl, 18, 19, 20-year-old, cool. She's playing blackjack. She gets like, maybe she's got 14. She's like, fuck this. Hit.
Yeah.
Cool. She's at 18 now. Do I hit? That's like mentally, that's like 8. Like we extract that analogy. That's her at like 25. Shit, do I stay on 18 or do I go for 21?
Yeah.
She goes to 21. Bust. She's 35 and she's single.
I want to dive into the biology a little bit with what you're saying and going back to the income disparity thing, because I believe that in third world countries, when they're subject to more violence, it seems like they fall into their gender roles a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It seems like the men and the women work simpatico with each other. The men are big and strong and they're going to go hunt and provide. The women are carers and nurturers. They're going to care for the family. Do you think in the Western world, comfort has been put at the forefront? Because my beliefs are that women get sold through emotional arguments and they're a lot easier to sway into moving in a certain direction. And I truly believe as well, I think even during COVID, I think that was just because it was the fall of masculinity in the West. I think they almost knew that that's what it was. And the women were leading the households and the emotional arguments were coming to the forefront. So do you think that plays a factor with the comfort side of things in the West?
Well, women are the enforcers of like social standards. That's always been their role. So like women, for example, like women are tend to be on average more religious than men.
Interesting.
Like they enforce those standards more.
Yeah.
If you go to religious communities, they're the ones who are kind of, they're the ones who will be doing the slut shaming more than the guys actually. Another good example is like, doing things like prohibition. The interesting thing that has been studied is you look at countries like Scandinavian countries, which are like the laws on the books try to make the country as egalitarian as possible, and they try to push more women into things like STEM, for example, right?
Yeah.
In those societies, we see that women have like actually do the complete opposite. Like they're more likely to like resort back to like their traditional gender roles in certain ways. And one of the funniest things I've read was like, and again, when it was a study that was done in Scandinavian countries, and it was they looked at men and women, and they found like, are you more likely to have regrets around sexual experiences? That was what it was, and they found that the men regret in these countries, Scandinavian countries, where they try to get away with this concept of say slut shaming, trying to get rid of this concept, this horrendous patriarchal misogynistic concept of slut shaming, right? And they're encouraging casual sex. There's actually, if you go to Scandinavian countries, it's a very common, very casual thing, not considered a big deal culturally, casual sex. In those countries still, women are more likely to regret having a sexual experience in general, and men are more likely to regret passing up a sexual experience.
Interesting.
It's the biggest like polarization of that in regards to like sexual experience. I find that fascinating.
That is very fascinating
because it's innate. That tells you that all this social engineering you've done, you can't
still doesn't work.
You can't social engineer out biology.
I mean, I feel like the thing for me, even the biggest kind of like insult a woman says to another insult is "you are a slut." Because
it's a default. Yeah.
It's a biology innate thing in us that we know it's not right.
They know that it is designed to, and this is studied across like multiple cultures. They all do it. I think it was like a 32 nation study. So we're talking like not just Western cultures. We're talking African cultures, Asian cultures. We're talking across the whole Arabic cultures, the whole world. Women will use that as a way to reduce the social status of female competition. They all do it.
I think what's interesting as well, like back to the social media thing, I almost feel like nudity sells.
Yeah.
But it's slavery.
Female
nudity
sells.
sells.
No one's putting a billboard with a pair of bollocks on. No one's doing that.
But I think it's slavery, it's bondage. It's like a pact with the system in a way to say I will abide and I will get the result for it. And for me, I feel like back in the day, back to our grandmas, like they had way more power in just their innate femininity. The control that they could have in the household seemed like that was way more productive over nudity. Because now you are objectified by the men. Because you're not actually innately that feminine if you're doing that.
One of the funniest things, personally, that OnlyFans revealed. OnlyFans actually been around since before like kind of 28. I think it was around since 2016 actually. It's a bit older than people think it is.
Right.
But it became a household name in 2020. And originally it wasn't even designed for pornography. Originally, OnlyFans was designed for like chefs and like PTs.
Really?
If you look at the early branding of OnlyFans, that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But then like 2020 kicked in. And women were like, I can sell my pussy on this thing. And it exploded. And now it's become the OnlyFans we know today.
Interesting.
But the thing is, like, that kind of destroyed this whole argument that was perpetuated for a long time about the porn industry, which is like, women are coerced and forced into selling their bodies in the porn industry. OnlyFans completely disproved that. It's like, no, they're all doing it of their own volition. No one is like making them fucking do this. They're all like they're coming out of high school and doing it and trying to do it. And you go back to that point you made about like, you know, our grandmothers not sort of selling their bodies like this because it was women, it was other women socially enforcing this social contract among other women. And it was because there was consequences for a woman's reputation because we lived in smaller, familiar communities where everybody knew each other.
Do you think
now we don't live in that?
Do you think there's a role with that with information as well? Like if me and you are tuning into the same radio station, we can work in a community and a tribe a lot better than if I was getting one piece of information, you were getting one piece of information. We're going to collide a lot more.
Yeah. The thing that we're seeing now because social media now is engineered towards like the algorithms. It's not like you're watching different news channels. It's not like you're watching like Fox and I'm watching CNN. That's not really what it's like. It's like we're both logging into something like TikTok, right? And based upon the cumulative screen time that we allocate to different pieces of content that we're fed, very quickly the algorithm figures out what we spend more, what we react better to, what we engage more with, and then it just gives us more of that stuff. And usually people, humans, and men and women, humans respond more to negative information than positive information, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bigger reaction out of someone if you give them negative stuff. And so what's happening is that young men and young women are getting two completely different algorithms.
Exactly, yeah.
Young men are getting like women ain't shit, and young women are getting men ain't shit.
If he doesn't buy you flowers, he's no good.
Well, they're getting the phenomenon that I find fascinating is you've got so many of these. You get a lot of middle-aged women like putting their entire dating life out in the public. I find that like. You would never like. I mean, I'm on the internet professionally, and I talk about sexual relationships and stuff, and I talk about my relationship, you know, and past relationships and stuff. But it's for the purpose of trying to educate. You know, I'm not just like some person, like, oh, I got dumped again. Like a guy doing it would be like, why? We would look at a man doing that and be like, oh, I got rejected again. Like just a regular guy, not like he's coaching and he has some degree of success and he can actually part some information. Just a dude like. Keeping a vlog of him just getting heartbroken and shat on again and again and again. We look at them and be like, why are you doing this?
It'd be weird, yeah.
It'd be odd. But we have there's a whole cadre of middle-aged women who are doing this now of their own free will and volition for no actual, like, there's no financial gain.
Yeah.
There's not, like, and what's happening is you go through the comment section and it's just other women gassing them up. Like, his loss, honey, you're a
queen.
You're a queen. It's just it blows like it's women enabling other women.
Yeah.
It's. I just want women to be honest with each other. But it's just not in their nature. Like they would rather avoid having the awkward conversation and potentially offending someone for the sake of keeping the peace. Like that is the primary female directive: is to just keep the peace and not ruffle any feathers, not rock the boat at all. And so what happens is you end up with all these women like. Making the same mistakes in their dating life again and again and again, and nobody correcting them, being like, "Hey, like, stop doing this thing," and you might see better results.
Improve. Yeah,
you know, and it's kind of heartbreaking because we're gonna have this whole we're gonna have like my generation is gonna be single. There's a lot of women in my generation who are gonna end up single and childless, and that is a problem.
Yeah,
for society as a whole.
I think they have tailored it in a way to be able to do it, and I almost don't think they care. And I don't think I had somebody talk to me about this the other day, saying they want to get rid of the white Western man and the family unit and all that stuff. But I actually think it's our stubbornness that they don't like. It's the fact that we want pensions and we want things that they hate. And they don't mind because they can just replace us. Yeah. It's not a problem to them. I do want to come back to...
There's an interesting analogy someone's given me on that. I'll give you a good analogy for that.
Okay.
Did you see, like, this is a big conversation in Australia with, like, we've had massive amounts of immigration in Australia in the last few years. It's a real problem. And someone gave the great analogy. It's like a diabetic and... like the whole economy is run in such a way that you need to even have to create growth. you just have to keep pumping people into it. So you pump people into it, and they spend, and on paper the economy looks like it's growing, and it's kind of like it's like a diabetic, like, you know, eating like some candy to try and spike their insulin just to keep themselves from dying. That's such a good analogy.
It's great. Yeah, that's a great analogy. I want to come back to the women accountable thing in a minute, but I want to dive into the red pill world a little bit. Because obviously you've been quite a key influence in that space. I also saw you.
I didn't make the documentary.
I didn't make the documentary. But I think many men can get drawn into that red pill world, and they're discovering different truths, and it's like a key that unlocks different parts of the system's programming. For guys listening to this, what is like a healthy perspective to look at the red pill space in?
Yeah. So the thing is, people mistake the red pill. Like, the red pill is a praxeology, not a philosophy. The red pill is designed to the original old school red pill. Like, the red pill has been around long before, like, 2020 and, like, you know, some of my friends like Fresh and Fit or the Tate brothers, right? It's been around long before that.
Yeah.
All the red pill was here. Like, it's like a map of the landscape. It's like, here is what. It's just guys in forums. It was just literally dudes in forums, like, swapping notes. Like, I've noticed this thing. I've noticed that thing, right? In regards to female nature. It's like, here is, like, a diagnosis of, like, what things women respond positively to, what things they respond negatively to, and possible evolutionary psychological reasons for that
problem.
For that inclination.
It's like a highlight.
It's not saying the red pill was never about this is good or this is bad.
Yeah.
It was never that. It was like, here is what women respond to. You do what you will with this information. It wasn't even about prescriptions in its originally. Now, my role, I try to take, like, a lot of this red pill understanding, and I try to give you prescriptions for the bedroom specifically, right?
Yes.
So it's like, if you do this thing, she will probably like it, and you will probably get a good result. So I do give prescriptions, but a lot of the guys in the red pill space, they're diagnosing the problem. They're showing you the problem. Like, you're frustrated in your dating life, cool, because you're doing this, which is causing this. That's all it really was. The funniest thing was that the Manosphere documentary didn't even, like, have, like, the only person in that documentary that you could even remotely say was from the Manosphere was, like, Myron.
Maybe Justin Waller, maybe?
Justin wouldn't call himself Manosphere.
No.
Justin's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He wouldn't call. He's a construction guy. He's just a handsome motherfucker who's really good with women.
Yeah.
He's not Manosphere though.
No.
So it's
but
like,
they label it because this is where the labeling goes wrong.
The labeling is like they include people like Chris Williamson and Joe Rogan in the Manosphere. Now the definition has become basically anything. Well, it depends who's making the definition, but it's basically anything that's men's self-help.
Anti-narrative, right?
So it's extremely broad. The definition now is extremely broad. But because you can, like, if you make that brush broad, you can tar people with that brush however you like. It's kind of a pointless conversation trying to, like, define what is the manosphere, what is the red pill space now, because the people who originally created it, like my good friend Roland Tomasi, he was one of the first people in the space. Like, everyone, like, glosses over him, but 90% of the rhetoric that people are quoting came from him originally.
But I think what's interesting as well is that they try and target men like the truth that they're saying is the problem. But I feel like even in your case, right, for every man you help is for every woman you help.
I've helped at least every guy I've helped. I've at least helped one woman.
Exactly, yeah, which is really interesting.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I have women in especially for the last couple of years, I've had a lot of women hit me up in emails, in DMs on Instagram and Facebook saying, like, my husband or my boyfriend, he watched your stuff and now our sex life is great. Thank you. I have the receipts. I have lots of messages like this. So you can't turn around and tell me that I'm some kind of woman-hating misogynist and I hate women, I'm damaging women. Like, I'm saving fucking marriages
I'm the
over
best
here.
thing that's ever
Bro, what are
happened
you
to
talking about? Like, I'm the Genghis Khan of orgasms. I'm responsible for more orgasms on this earth than fucking anyone.
Yeah.
But, like, vicariously. I've caused them. So thank you very much. You're welcome, ladies.
Yeah. Like,
you could thank me. If your guy knows how to dick you down right, he's probably watched some of my shit.
Yeah, go and watch Stirling Cooper. Come on. You've argued that modern institutions And I guess this ties into what we've just discussed around like the traditional masculinity. Like, why do they go so heavily into it? Like, what is their main thing that they want to uncover with the truth of traditional masculinity?
You mean why do the institutions attack it?
Why do they attack it? Yeah.
A population that is inherently masculine has boundaries,
Yeah.
right? I mean, these are all just masculine traits in general, right? Has boundaries, is confident in its own opinions, will stand up for what is right, will prioritize, facts and logic and rationality over emotion.
Mm.
All of these things are a threat to the current system that we live in. So it makes sense for them to try and attack anything remotely masculine at every possible opportunity that they can, because if they don't, then they lose control.
I think it's because also we're almost the backbone of the slave force in a way.
We are the slave.
We are.
Young men are the slave. Like every blue collar man on earth is the slave class now.
Do you think they tailor the leaders to also be more feminine?
Of course, you're not going to get elected.
Why do they do that?
Well, if you make people appeal to emotion and appeal to a primarily more feminine way of viewing the world, try to get like a left-leaning person or a feminist or whatever, self-identifying feminist, try to get them to define masculinity. Everything they'll use they'll define toxic masculinity quite easily. You try to get them to define masculinity in general, it'll always be framed in terms of what is good for women. It'll always be framed that way. How about like we have a definition of masculinity that has nothing at all to do with women? Because I don't think it does. I don't think masculinity actually has anything to do with women.
No.
A lot of guys will be like, oh, he has to be a provider and a protector, and he has to do this for women and that for women. He has to open doors, or you know what I mean? The fuck. It's like no. We don't need like that's actually like that's a different thing. Like you can be the best. The best definition of masculinity, in my opinion, comes from a guy called Jack Donovan. He wrote a book called The Way of Men.
Yes.
Have you read this book?
I've not read it. I know of it though.
I think he's got the best definition of it. And he goes over the 4 masculine virtues, which are strength, courage, mastery, and honor. And he says there's a clear distinction between being good at being a man and being a good man, like a moral, virtuous man. Those are two distinctly different things. And I think that's why I think he's nailed the definition, because you look at Pablo Escobar, right? You look at like a Genghis Khan, you look at like Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, you look at like a Napoleon, you look at like a lot of the guys through history who are probably bastards, but you can't say they're not masculine.
Yes.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
They are obviously very masculine men. Doesn't mean they're like, well, to their people they're probably great, but to the people they're conquering, they're like, he's a bit of a prick. So like the morality, like the point I'm trying to get across is like masculinity is amoral. It's not good or bad, right? It just is. Same as femininity. Female nature isn't good or bad. It just is. A tiger has stripes. A tiger got stripes that are skin deep. Don't even know that. You shave a tiger, the stripes are on its skin.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's why I think it's a really good analogy. Like you can't get rid of it. It's there. It's skin deep. You know. So it's like it's not being a. I'm not saying guys shouldn't be good men.
Yeah.
But if masculinity was, because if we think about it this way, like masculinity and femininity are two ends of polarities, right? And they attract, just like a magnetic pole, they attract one another. Like when a woman is very feminine, we men find it attractive. When a man is very masculine, surprise, surprise, women actually find it quite attractive. And that's the reason why you look at like drug dealers and criminals and thugs, like they never have a problem attracting women.
No.
They never have a problem attracting women. So it's because they are masculine. Doesn't mean they're good men or good people. Doesn't mean they're moral and just and virtuous. But they are masculine. So that is why they don't ever have a problem getting laid and having a girlfriend. And it's like people are now trying to they very much try to conflate masculinity with like being virtuous. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be virtuous. I'm just saying that they're completely different things, in my opinion.
This leads me on perfectly to my next question. What separates the men women naturally respect from the men they eventually lose attraction for?
That's a good question. Because I've been trying to dive into this phenomenon of the dead bedroom lately. So there's a whole subreddit called Dead Bedrooms.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. and it's filled with confessions and personal stories of people who are mostly men who are in like long-term relationships, long marriages and stuff, and they haven't had sex in years, they haven't had a blowjob in years, like the bedroom is dead, there's no attraction there. And it's like, okay, like the one of the key things I'm trying to get across to a lot of guys is like, there's the things that that make women aroused, the things that turn a woman on, like about your personality and the way you carry yourself, that turn a woman on, are so fucking important. Those are the things you actually need to nail.
Yes.
To have a chance at getting into a relationship and keeping the relationship alive. Because when that arousal disappears, you get the dead bedroom. When that arousal's gone, you end up in that situation where she don't want to fuck him anymore. She no longer respects him, right? Now you could say like it's a bit of a chicken egg thing. Like, did she lose respect and then arousal, or did she lose arousal and then backwards rationalize that she lost respect for him? I would say it's the latter. I would say that respect is down. A woman's respect for you is kind of downstream of, does she think other women want to fuck you?
Interesting. So it's actually the status that comes first in a way?
I think it is.
Pre-selection?
I think it's a pre-selection first.
Okay.
Because I think everything is downstream of that. Like everything, all the things that are attractive about it, like that a woman finds attractive and arousing in a man, will create attraction and arousal in other women. Like,
I almost think it also starts with need a little bit, because I feel like for me, and this doesn't just go for women, it goes for money, it goes for, making it in life, whatever it is you want to do. If you need it to happen and you're desperate for it to happen, it likely won't happen. And I think it's the same thing with women. If you need her to, feel your approval, or you need her to like show up for you in a certain way, or you need her, or like even if you ignore her to increase attraction, the need is still there. Right. You're still putting value on it.
You're doing it for that purpose. Yeah,
exactly.
You're pedestalizing in a way. Yeah, I mean, that's the concept of abundance.
Yeah.
Right? If you have an abundance in kind of all things, like the hungry don't get fed.
Yeah.
The dude who is like really well connected, like look at every like big influencer, like Logan Paul's, Mr. Beast and stuff. They've got like, people are throwing opportunities at them.
Positioning yourself.
You'd love that opportunity. You'd love a Lunchables brand. You'd love a fucking prime drink offer. But it ain't coming to you. It's coming to the guys who've got like millions of followers already. So like everyone, like abundance works in all realms, right? And but abundance and what we call pre-selection or mate choice copying is like the kind of like the literature way of saying it. Like other women being attracted to you makes your woman more attracted to you. Like that is abundance.
Does it work with men as well? Like the more men that respect you, women also see that and they find that attractive?
That raises your status, yes.
Okay.
It absolutely works. So the status is one of like these things, the lines get a bit blurry when we talk about mate choice copying or pre-selection, right? That's other women finding you attractive. So your primary partner, your woman, gets jealous or finds you more attractive because of that. That has fundamentally been proven. That can get conflated sometimes with status in general, but I like to think of status in general as being like all people, both men and women, like giving you respect and admiration and putting you fitting into a social hierarchy somewhere near the top, right?
Yeah.
That is just general status. Now, the interesting thing about the world we live in now is that attention and status are very hard to separate because we live in an attention economy.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So, you look at any of these live streamers who are just being complete fucking clowns.
Yes.
They're almost being self-degrading in a lot of ways. They're just embarrassing themselves for clicks and eyeballs and attention. They're still getting pussy. You know what I mean?
So where does like morality and honor play a part in this?
It doesn't.
So
it doesn't.
In attraction, it makes no difference. Yeah.
In my opinion, okay, yeah, this is something that is quite controversial. I think, and I'll make this very clear, I do think you should be a moral, virtuous, upstanding man.
Yeah.
However, I do not think that fits into the equation of attraction, arousal, at all. It's not that it's negative. It's a non sequitur. It doesn't take into consideration at all. Like, so all the things that make a woman aroused or attracted to you defining like comfort. Because all the things that women say they want in a partner, like they say they want, whenever you ask women, what are you attracted to? They'll list things that are good for a relationship. They never tell you why they slept with the bartender.
Why do you think they do that?
Because they're projecting what they want long term.
Many ways,
they're saying when they say I want a guy who buys me flowers, takes me to dinner, all this sort of stuff. What they really mean is they want a guy who they are aroused by to do those things. They want that guy to be nice to them. The attractive guy to be nice to them. That's what they're saying.
You don't think there's anything to do with almost turning the good men away in that? You don't think there's any psychology where it's like, can I get only the 1% of men to abide by my rules? It's almost like, for me, when I see a girl, like a power game, yeah, it's almost like I sometimes see these girls that are with these top 1% guys, and then when they're not loyal, they throw a temper tantrum. It's like, what did you expect? I'm confused. I mean, you didn't know that.
That is that's them trying to use emotional manipulation to get what they want. Yeah, that's kind of like, that's a tool. So one of the funniest things that I ever heard was from Tristan Tate, and I asked Tristan, like, how do you, like, you've got multiple girlfriends and they're jealous of each other and like all this sort of stuff. Like, how do you get away with that? He's like, he just turned it instead of they've got no hands. As in, they can't beat me up.
Exactly.
It's like, you kind of got a point there. And it's like, I thought on that for a long time, and I was like, okay, if you really break down like men's primary tool for getting what they want from the world around them, it's force,
violence.
Let's call it force, because it could be violence against another man, or it could be force in terms of like, I break this rock open with a hammer and extract gold from it. You know what I mean? But it's physical force in some way. Okay, right? That's men's primary tool for getting what they want in the world. Women, they can only really rely on one of two things. It's sexuality, sexual access, like sexual power, right? Like tempting access to sex, or they can rely on emotional manipulation,
seduction in a way.
And usually emotional manipulation comes in the form of denying sexual access.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to throw a tantrum, which implies that I'm not going to fuck you.
Yeah.
So so women, because they've got no hands, they can't beat you up. They can't forcibly take your shit. They can't force you through violence to take them out to dinner.
Do you think women have got worse at the emotional manipulation in a way, since it's become easier to attract a man through social media? It's almost like, the question I want to ask you is, it's almost like it's become easier, so why do they need to train their emotional manipulation brain to go and do it?
So you're saying, do you think women have become worse at emotionally manipulating men?
I think they've become worse at seducing men in a way.
I agree they've become worse at seducing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say seduction is different.
Okay.
I'm gonna say seduction is like wanted emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, I think all interactions between men and women, or between men and women and women, I think it's all manipulation.
Yeah.
To some degree. Like, you can objectively look at it and say it's manipulation. The difference is this manipulation I consent to and I want. That's like her being nice to me, her enthusiastically sucking my dick to get what she wants. This is still emotion. This is still manipulation. Yeah. I'm cool with it.
I think
We're
it's
all
cunning.
Cool with it.
They're cunning though. They're like, I almost feel like, I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. Seduction might not even be the right word. They're cunning. They know what to do, and
women are way more like emotionally and socially savvy than the average man.
I feel like in history it shows as well. I mean, I'd say the story quite a lot. I use an example of, imagine I've got a family, a wife and a child, and I'm in a cave, and I, as the hunter and the provider and the protector, go out to get food for the family. And I'm walking through the forest and I come across a saber-toothed tiger. And that saber-toothed tiger eats me. Now, biology and nature shows that saber-toothed tiger is going to track my footprints back to the cave and potentially eat my wife and my child. Now, biology shows that unless she goes and gets a replacement, she gets eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? But I feel like women now have become less cunning because they almost feel like they don't need a man anymore to protect and provide.
Well, they don't.
You're replaceable anyway.
Well, they don't, because that the state has taken that role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's a good point. That kind of leads me down another path. Like, so the reason we've gotten to like soft polygamy is because all of the things that a man traditionally provided for a woman are now kind of provided by the state. A woman is at very low risk of homelessness. There's social welfare. She can have a child and doesn't need a man around to provide for it. There is, again, social welfare. She doesn't need a man to really protect her. We have police force and stuff like that. We have security cameras, and we live in a surveillance state, really. So she doesn't need a man for that. She can pay her own bills. She can get a job, a very good paying job. Women are doing better in education, better in university degrees, getting better promotions than men are in general. So it's a good argument. What the hell does she need a man for? What does she need a man for? The only thing realistically, like, that a man can provide a woman is kind of emotional stability. I've heard the argument from a lot of guys in sort of the red pill manosphere space that the female orgasm is a funny argument, but I've heard the argument that the female orgasm doesn't matter. It's inconsequential to the human species.
Interesting.
Because the man's orgasm creates life, the woman's orgasm has no interaction, it has no relevance to getting her pregnant. It can help, but it's not necessary. But the key thing, that my argument is, the female orgasm would not have evolved if it didn't serve a purpose. Nature isn't really that wasteful.
No.
Right? And when you look at what happens, in a woman's brain when she has an orgasm, it's a massive dump of oxytocin. Oxytocin is the pair bonding hormone. It's the love hormone. It's
love chemical.
It's the love chemical. It's what makes us fall in love with each other. Now women and men, you can get oxytocin from holding hands. You can get oxytocin from cuddling, kissing, these kind of things. But the female orgasm is uncomparable. Like, it's massive amounts of oxytocin. It creates the pair bond. And unfortunately, what can happen is when a woman has a higher body count, she gets less of an oxytocin dump.
So it does decrease per man she sleeps with.
It can decrease from.
Are those big leaps?
Not all the time. Not with every woman, not all the time. But you can see that women who've had a larger amount of sexual partners, they get less of a hit from the orgasm. So less of a pair bond.
Yeah.
Right? But that pair, the female orgasm is to create that pair bond, to make her fall in love with a guy and stick with him and bond to him and attach to him, to be nice to him, to be pleasant to him, so that he sticks around, to emotionally manipulate him with niceness, so that he protects her and provides for her and stops that lion from fucking killing her. Yeah.
I want to read you a statement from Carl Jung. And it goes like this. Carl Jung suggested that we rarely see people exactly as they are. Instead, we often see our own unconscious projections. Through his ideas of the anima and the animus, he explains the importance of men integrating their feminine side and women integrating their masculine side. He argued that many of the qualities we're searching for in a partner are shaped by cultural programming and the projections we've built about what we believe the opposite sex should be. When we're operating from that place of projection, we don't really see the person in front of us. In many ways, it's similar to how we view the world itself. How do you know you're living inside a system if you don't even realize you're in one? Until you become conscious of your own conditioning, it's difficult to separate reality from the stories you've been telling yourself. We see who we want them to be or the fantasy we've created around them. The process of individuation is about becoming psychologically whole by integrating those unconscious parts of ourselves. We begin seeing people who they really are rather than through the lens of our own unmet needs. Paradoxically, when you no longer need someone to fill that internal void, you often become more attractive because you're relating from a place of wholeness rather than dependency. What do you think some of the common projections men place onto women that simply aren't true?
Ooh, that's good. Men attribute too much like male thinking onto women. Like, they think like this is the reason why men are frustrated with women when they're told by society and movies and cinema, etc., to be the nice guy, and then they do that thing and they get their heart broken, they get ignored, they get rejected, right? So that they're being told one thing and the reality is smacking them over the head with a completely different thing. They're projecting onto other women like, oh, I did not, like, they're projecting this sort of quid pro quo exchange, like this very logical, you could say masculine, rational, like, exchange, like, oh, I do good thing to you, you suck my dick. Like, it's kind of like, nice guy deposits tokens into a vending machine and pussy pops out. They're projecting this sort of this very masculine way of looking at things. I'll give you a great example of this: is dudes who send dick pics. That is projecting a masculine view of the world onto a woman. Because if a woman sent you titties on the phone, you'd fucking love it. She ain't having the same response when you send her a picture of your wang. That is a total projection.
Yeah.
And that's a phenomenon. You ask any woman, she's probably had an unsolicited dick pic at some point in her life from a guy, probably on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that is pure projection. It's like, oh, I like seeing titties. She must like seeing penis.
I also
ain't the case.
I tell you what's interesting. So somebody who I'm working with at the minute, he describes it as, let's say, Marty, Sterling, we're playing a game of tennis, and you know that if I hit the ball over the net, you're likely going to hit it back. But sometimes when you're dealing with women, they might just smash the ball in the air.
That's a good example.
It's a good example, yeah. So I think we
unpredictable,
unpredictable, yeah. So like the fact that she is going through that emotional roller coaster, if you are projecting your logical view of like, I was really good to you today, like why are you being like this?
Good behavior should beget good behavior.
Exactly, because that's the way we operate.
That's a rational way of thinking.
So I think like a practical example for men to walk away from this podcast would be, you know, if she is going through that emotional state, try not to give it too much logic. Because she is emotional.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you'll just be very frustrated. You'll spend your whole life in frustration if you expect women to behave in this sort of binary, logical exchange.
100%.
You're going to be screwed.
Do you think women in modern society have the same need to be as accountable as men?
No, I think we shelter them from accountability.
So you think it's our doing?
Well, I think society in general. I think men play a role in it.
Yeah.
We definitely shelter them from all accountability, as much accountability as possible. And this is how you end up with this sort of cadre of women who are maybe middle-aged, venting their frustrations about the dating situation they're in on TikTok. It's because everyone's just gassing them up and lying to them in the comment section. You go find one of these TikToks of a woman who's frustrated. She's in her maybe mid-30s or later, and she's just getting ghosted, or guys aren't committing to her, or they just want sex from her, or whatever. Right? Go through the comment section. There's gonna be you're not gonna find a woman in that comment section saying, "Hey, honey, like these choices that you made previously in life are why you're in this situation." That would be accountability.
Yeah,
we're not having that conversation.
I think what's interesting with accountability as well, I think one of the reasons why women don't optimize for accountability is because in many ways there's no need to be competitive. I think as a man, we optimize for accountability because we have to be competitive. Yeah. I think with women, you can be born with beauty, and that's how you're brought up and that's how you live. And you're always getting the male validation. So for your example, when they do turn 40, they still see themselves as that young, beautiful girl who can get away with murder and do those things.
That's been their whole life experience.
Yeah.
So like if that's all you've ever experienced, why would it change?
Exactly.
Right? And you've been told that age doesn't matter, beauty doesn't matter, looks don't matter, fertility window doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the message you've been told. So why would you think otherwise?
You
know, it's unfortunate. Like, and I'm not trying to absolve. There's a weird like paradox that when it comes to dealing with women, that like, because I think paradoxical thinking is actually quite useful a lot of the time.
Yeah.
With women, like I'll give a non-relationship example. There's this idea I learned from a guy he was ironically a dating coach, Owen Cook. He had this concept which I picked up from him in my early 20s, and it was this idea of intent plus freedom from outcome. If you want something in life, you have to have intent plus freedom from outcome. He gave the example he used was like Kobe Bryant. Like when Kobe Bryant's like playing on a basketball, you know, he's just in the zone, right? If he has only intent, he's gonna push too hard, and he's gonna force shots, right? Or force his way into the lane and like, you know, get the ball stolen or create a turnover or something, right? He needs to have the intent to score, but he also needs to have the freedom from outcome that he doesn't have to. Like you can apply that to dating.
Yeah.
You can apply that to business, like negotiations. You can apply that to networking. It's a really paradoxical concept. But once you understand it and submit to it, it applies to everything in life. It's really useful.
Yeah.
Paradoxical thinking with women is you have to absolve them of all accountability while simultaneously, like, whilst giving them human respect. Which that sounds bad, but it's like you have to treat them like a child whilst treating them like an adult. Does that make more sense?
No,
like,
it does.
Because a child is absolved of accountability.
Yeah.
So like if I'm this is my son or daughter, like I'm responsible for them. I'm the fucking man of the house. I'm leading. I'm providing, putting food on the table, keeping a roof over their head. I am responsible for them. I absolve them of accountability. Whatever happens to them is my fault.
I think it's a great way you've just put that, because I think the crossover with men and where the red pill space goes wrong in a way, it's, can you have that balancing act of what you've just mentioned to not become cynical about women with the accountability side of things?
That is the hard thing.
Yeah.
That is the problem that men run into when they get into this space of the internet, like say manosphere, red pill, understanding female nature better. It's like they're frustrated because they expect women to behave like men. Women don't behave like men. They expect women to be accountable for their actions. They're not held accountable, and they don't take accountability. So it's like, so then you have two choices. You can either go down this, you can either have the paradox, or you can attribute actually three options. You have the paradoxical thinking I just described. You can attribute malice to them when there isn't really necessarily malice, or you can basically lose all respect for women. Those are kind of your only three options. So you have to have the only healthy option is the paradoxical one, where you have to simultaneously absolve them of accountability whilst still treating them like adults. It's a paradox.
It's difficult.
It's paradox, but it's the only way to make it work.
Yeah. 100%. Do you think the media machine indoctrinates women to believing in a certain way? If so, what are some of the beliefs that they try and push onto women?
I mean, all obviously feminism. Most media in most Western nations has a left wing bias and is pushing things in a left wing direction. But I'm. Pearl Davis. Yeah, just Pearl Davis. She has a very interesting concept where she's like, she pushes. I saw some stuff from her recently where she's like pushing back against that kind of narrative of like this whole narrative of like women have been propagandized to and brainwashed to act a certain way, to be more promiscuous, to be more kind of egalitarian thinking. And she's got a point. She's like, are we indoctrinating and propagandizing women to think this way, or are they just taking advantage, or is it just them acting out on their nature, acting in their own self-interest in a system that lets them act in their own self-interest? Maybe it is the latter. Maybe we're wrong about this whole conclusion. Maybe the conclusion of like they've been propagandized to. Maybe they're just
exercising their right.
Maybe they're just exercising free will and just acting in their own self-interest. It's a super interesting thought for her, and she's a woman, so I'm like, maybe I'm inclined to believe you, Pearl.
Well, it's like if you let your back to the child thing in a way, like get away with murder, they're going to do it, right?
Now, I do think that women. My actual answer is I do think women respond to social pressure. So, I do think that whatever you pedestalize, you're going to get like. Whatever you pedestalize and incentivize, you're going to get more of. I mean, the welfare state kind of proved that. Like in America, when you introduced child support and welfare, the divorce rates went up. So if you let them get away with murder, they're going to get away with murder. Like California, great example. I think it was California. They stopped prosecuting if you stole items under a certain amount of money, like maybe it's $500 or it might have been $800, $900. If you stole items under that amount, you wouldn't get prosecuted. Surprise, surprise! People started stealing shit more. You get what you incentivize more of. So it's like, okay, well, and the idea of disincentivizing behavior from women, well, that's patriarchal and misogynistic and abusive. That's controlling. Don't you dare tell a woman what to do. Don't you dare provide any negative incentives for behavior that would benefit a woman.
Which is just double standards.
Don't you dare do that.
Yeah.
You're a bad man. You're a misogynist. You're a patriarch. You're the evil.
I think it's interesting as well because I think biology shows that, you know, we do want to fit into a community and a tribe. I don't really believe we're truth-seeking animals. I think we're survival creatures. Yeah. And I think if you're the village truth teller, you might get clubbed to death in the middle of the night. Whereas if you kind of go along to get along, you know, and I think this is where men get really trapped within the system. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really benefit me to come out and speak the truth. You know, I'm kind of stuck in this generation. Yeah. And this is why I'm on such a mission at my age to try and help my generation unlock different parts of their mindset, to realize, like, the fact that you're ignoring it right now, it will come back to bite you. You know, I think history shows that if you're at the front of the line and you're leading from the front, you still get shot. And if you're at the back, you just get shot last.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, it's coming. It's going to come for you eventually. Like the Ayn Rand quote, like, you can ignore reality all you want, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
Exactly.
The consequences are going to come for you anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you're in the same soup the rest of us are in. Like the what's that old thing, like the frog in the pot of boiling water.
Yeah.
You know, like it's we're in the boiling water. Like, we're in it. Like, so you want to jump out with me or just sit there? Mm-hmm. Like,
do you think violence is one of the most fundamental biological instincts humans possess? If so, how has that shaped human evolution? And what role does it play in the polarity between men and women today?
Well, it's obviously like one of men's most base instincts, and it's so much that we have to repress it on a daily basis. Anytime someone pisses you off, like the thoughts, you don't act on it, but the thoughts here, like, just club the fucking guy. Like, you know, someone gets in my fucking way. Like, the number of times someone has walked in front of me on the footpath here in fucking London.
Tell me about it.
Move, you retard. Like, do you not know how to walk? Probably. It pisses me off. Like, people are so fucking. I can't stand slow walkers. Jesus Christ. See, it's coming out now.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about walking on a fucking footpath, and I want to smack someone, but I don't. Because I've got rational self-control.
Yeah.
Because I know there's consequences. I know that's a human being. And I'm going to hurt them. Like, I'm an intelligent human being. I'm not going to act out on my impulses. I have impulse control. Right. But it's undeniable that it's in us and it has shaped our evolution. And my argument is that it's even more undeniable that violence is inherent, or the capacity for violence, the ability to be violent, is inherently arousing to women. That, I think, is undeniable.
I agree.
And that is a reason I saw such a good. There was just before I got here, I watched this Instagram reel, and it was about this young lady talking about getting spanked, and how it gave her the ick when this guy she was having sex with spanked her very softly, like didn't spank her hard enough, gave her the ick. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you for putting this on the internet. You are validating everything I fucking say. Like this. Because what is spanking? Spanking is like this really safe way for a guy to demonstrate his capacity for violence, force, power to the woman he's sleeping with.
Yeah.
In an erotic way, in a way that she finds pleasurable. The whole masochistic there's a very masochistic aspect to the female sexual experience.
Yeah.
If you think about it for like half a second, like what the penis is like a spear. Like you're physically penetrating her. Like when a woman is a virgin, she has like the hymen. Like you have to tear the hymen to have sex with a woman who's never had sex with before in the first place. Like birth is painful. Like so the whole like if you take a step back and look at like what sex is for a woman, there is this relationship with pleasure and pain for her.
There's a danger there, right?
There's a danger aspect. Danger is arousing and exciting.
Yeah.
Look at all female romance novels. The guy's dangerous in some way. He's mysterious. He's a werewolf, billionaire, vampire.
Yeah.
You know, like this danger.
He's got some edginess to him.
He's got something about him that's dangerous. So there's an inherent, like, it's retarded to think that there's no, like, aspect of male violence that isn't inherently arousing to women. Because it's like, there's the whole, like, war brides phenomenon of, like, you know, women being able to like move on have the kids of the guy who like came into the tribe and killed her ex-husband.
Yeah.
Like that, the capacity for that, like the only women who survived in our evolutionary past were the women who were capable of doing that.
I also think what's interesting with biology, like from that standpoint, is let's say we are big and strong and women aren't as physically capable. If you are the king of the throne, why not send all the women to war? And I think
You're right, yeah.
what's really interesting with
because
that,
they can't win it.
yeah, but also as well, I feel like if you send 100 women to war and you've got one man left in the tribe or 10 men, you can't reproduce quick enough if they come back.
Yeah.
So that's why like the patriarchy's so bad, but the men go to war because one man can reproduce a whole community of women, which is interesting.
Male life is just not as about like objectively male life isn't as valuable as female life.
Yeah.
Then I'm not saying this to be a man hater or anything like that. Like
no, you're right.
I speak up for men a lot of the time for most of my stuff, but that's just an objective fact.
Yeah.
You know, because we can't
give
birth, we can't create life.
Yeah.
And to me that's the funniest, like not funny, it's probably the saddest thing is like so many women foregoing the magic of motherhood. You're a wizard.
Yeah.
You can create life in you. You're like, what?
So beautiful.
That's just crazy to think about, like, for a second. Like, you're magic.
Yeah.
You can poof. There's a baby. There's a human being there.
It's wild.
And, like, that would be like if I could fly. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to walk everywhere. What? What? You're mad.
Yeah. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do it?
I don't understand that. Like, to me, that just blows my mind.
I want to fast forward to the future. Do you think relationships between men and women are going through a temporary correction? And if the pendulum does swing back, what does that look like? Do you even think it's possible that it can swing back?
Yeah, that's the problem, man. I'm a bit pessimistic. I don't know if it can swing back.
Okay.
I don't think it can swing back unless you get rid of the smartphone.
Social media has to go before that happens.
Like you should, my kid ain't having a fucking smartphone until past puberty.
Yeah,
like 18, 20. Because the anxious generation, the book, The Anxious Generation I mentioned before, like you should not be having teenagers growing up with social media and smarphones.
No,
we've proven it's like the data's pretty conclusive. It's really fucking bad.
Well, I'm 2003, so what's interesting for me is I was year 7 when I got my first phone.
Right.
Didn't have social media, but I was the first generation, really, 2003, which was like we were diving into social media a lot.
You grew up with it?
Well, I grew up with it, yeah. So I even see it in my parents a little bit. Sorry to call them out, but I think what's interesting is like they're now on social media. It's like the first thing ever, or even like my granddad.
Right.
He got on TikTok and he was like, what the?
Yeah.
And it was almost like for the first kind of year of using it, they kind of fell into kind of like the way we reacted around it. We did silly things on it like we shouldn't have done, like message birds, stupid
and your
stuff.
Granddad's doing it.
And like, I'm not saying my granddad was doing it, but like they kind of like they're now trying to cope with this new like phenomenon.
The brain rot.
The brain rot, yeah. Like, and they're kind of being more reactive in a way, which is like, oh, this is. And I'm like, it's because of the social media. Like, we're used to it.
Yeah.
So,
have you seen? Did you this happened like last year? I think during the Ukraine Russia war, Russians sent a bunch of North Koreans to the front.
No, I didn't see.
You didn't see this?
No.
So there was all these North Korean soldiers got sent to like the conflict, and they got shown like smartphones and pornography.
Right.
And a bunch of them just like, there was footage of them just like sitting there like just obsessed with it, like not being able to like break the spell and being just like transfixed on this thing that they've never, like they couldn't comprehend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's actually a healthy reaction. That's actually a normal reaction to what we've got.
Yeah.
What the North Koreans were, how they were reacting to seeing like endless titties.
Yeah.
It's like, that's actually reasonable if you think about it. Our reaction to it being very blasé is actually very warped in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to fix the problem. Like my generation's like, unfortunately there's a lot of women, like we said, like it's been proven, like projections are saying there's like a giant chunk of my generation, the millennial generation, women are going to be single and childless. Like they're coming up on menopause. Like they're in trouble. Like, which means society's in trouble because there's going to be a big chunk of women who don't have a partner and aren't. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of depression and mental illness because they were sold a fucking lie and their biology is like slamming them in the fucking face saying like, where's your kid?
I just hope if that pendulum does swing back that, women do take accountability and they look at it and say, we were lied to. Can we help the next generation of women?
I'm
very pessimistic.
I'm very doubtful.
Okay.
That we're going to see such a rational response.
Okay.
Now, I'm very confident with for Gen Z, and I'm hopeful for Gen Alpha, very, very hopeful for Gen Alpha and Gen Z. I think you guys have, I think Alpha have seen what the fuck's going on.
I agree with that. I think
and I think
Alpha
Gen Z have woken up to it.
Yeah.
But like, if you want the best for your kid, like, because you can't really, like, you and me as individuals, we can't like dictate what laws get passed unless we become, God Emperor of Earth. So it's like, what can you do for your family and your kids? Just don't give them a fucking smartphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna go to school or homeschool them. Like, yeah, they might go to school and all their friends are gonna have a smartphone and they're probably gonna show them some porn, unfortunately. But the least you can fucking do is not give them one that they can get hooked on, and like, let them be a real human being, like be a kid and not get hooked on this fucking thing. So it's like,
I think I've been very fortunate with the way that I've been brought up in terms of my parents haven't let me fall for the propaganda, and I can really depack the patterns of what is going on in society and make good logical decisions. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but unless you know where they want you to go, you might end up there by accident, and in which case you're subject to their propaganda.
One of my friends has this really good phrase. He's like, whenever he looks at a piece of content, consumes a piece of media, he just asks the question, what does the author, the producer, the director, what do they want me to think about this piece of work? What conclusions do they want me to reach from consuming this piece of media? Just start like, and that's not like that. Anyone can ask that question. If you're left wing, if you're right wing, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, everybody can ask that objective question. It's a very healthy question to ask now, especially now we're in the attention the attention economy, the social media age, but we're also we've just come into this era of like, AI is now able to make actually convincing videos now. Like it's so fast, it's gone so quick. So we're in this age of kind of like post-truth, where you don't it's getting very hard for you to be able to trust what you see online. Very hard. So it's like, shit.
So all you depack it.
But but that could go one of two ways. Like, that could lead to, like, your generation or Gen Alpha or the one following it to disconnect and not we can't trust what's online. So
I think we'll go very Book of Eli in terms of...
I actually don't know that reference. Book of Eli.
Book of Eli is like you're going back to the Stone Age.
Oh, okay.
Is the best way to look
I've
at
seen them. I think I've seen a movie.
Yeah.
Is it got Denzel Washington? Is it Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
And he's like holding he's protecting a Bible through
Yeah.
like...
Yeah.
I know the movie. Yeah.
Because basically what I'm saying with that is I think we'll go into more like in-person interactions, because where like social media has become like... everything is conditional to a degree.
Social media needs to become lame.
It needs to become... I think it will become lame. And do you know, it's interesting. I was having this discussion with somebody. They think Gen Alpha will be the ones that just find it ridiculously lame and they just won't see the value in it. I think Gen Z, we've been caught in the fucking wave. And we're just...
Yeah. I mean, because you look at like... Because, I mean, it kind of already happened. Like, Facebook became lame.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now all of our grandparents are on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, like,
what else?
Like if Facebook was able to become lame in such a not a very long period of time, I don't think it's going to be long before like once like TikTok and Instagram are just filled with like unk. I don't think it's gonna come across as lame. So hopefully that's going to push people towards like more in-person real interactions. The problem is we need more of what's called the third space. And the third space is like, your first space is your home, the second space is your work, third space is where you interact with your community. Because we've had a couple of generations now, progressively just like the local community has disappeared, rural communities have disappeared and congregated in cities, and we've become less personable and familiar with people. We have to kind of find a way to rebuild that.
Have you heard of the larger the city, the more they view you as like zoo animals, but the higher frequency of actually being gay?
Yeah. I've heard that, like, homosexuality is more prominent in cities, definitely. Yeah. I've heard a lot of stuff, like the rabbit holes I've gone down around it point to like childhood sexual abuse. Yeah. Being frequent amongst homosexuals, and parasite infection being frequent amongst homosexuals.
Interesting.
So interesting. It's, I think because they haven't proved, nobody has found like the gay gene. We've been looking, we've looked, haven't found it yet.
No.
So that like maybe there is a gauging, but we haven't found it yet. And it's like, well then maybe, and I'm not, and like you can call like I'm not a homophobe, but it's like there might be another explanation.
Yeah.
If it's like, and the only one that like a genetic explanation actually doesn't make any sense because it goes in the face of replication. Now there's been like explanations for it to do with like the sneaky fucker hypothesis and like a hypersexuality hypothesis. They might hold up a little bit, but not. They can be kind of torn apart a bit. But the parasitic explanation for it actually makes the most sense. If you look at like, there's a parasite that is in cats. I think toxoplasmosis. I forget the actual name of it. But what happens is it's a parasite that ends up in I think it's in cat poo. Sorry, and it ends up in mice. And when mice are infected with this parasite, they no longer have a fear of cats. It gets rid of their natural fear response.
Interesting.
And so they walk up to the cat.
Wow.
And just a mouse just walks up to the cat and interacts with it and gets eaten.
Yeah.
And then they get shat out by the cat, ends up in the poop. Mice comes along, finds it, and the cycle repeats itself.
Wow.
Cat owners, when cat owners get exposed to this same parasite and they get the parasite, they gamble more. They engage in more risk-taking behavior.
Gamble more, really?
Yeah, it changes your personality.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of parasites that do this out in the wild. Like that's just the most commonly known one. But parasites can have an impact on behavior.
Yeah.
So it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that there are parasites that can at least push homosexuality.
Interesting.
Like push that behavior, like make that behavior more prominent. That I don't think that's a very outrageous idea.
No.
Yeah, and there's been some funny, like I've seen some really funny 4chan posts about people like giving their like older gay brother or younger gay brother or something like slipping like anti-parasite medication into his drinks and like him not becoming gay anymore. Like it's funny. It's like a little anecdotal thing, but it's like, look, it's if we wanted to actually have a reasonable and rational conversation about it, that would be that we'd pursue that line of thought and find out. But you are never.
No.
Ever getting that study done in university. Never going to happen.
Definitely not.
Never
Definitely not. So, Stirling, imagine your 20-year-old self is sitting across from you today, knowing everything that you've experienced, truths about masculinity, relationships. What would you make sure he understood before walking out of the room?
If there was one piece of advice I'd give him in regards to like women, it's actually really, you're probably not going to expect this, but it's the thing that helped me the most when it came to my relationships and dating. And it's simply that it's okay to ignore a woman.
Okay.
It's really honestly as simple as that. And I'll break that down because I grew up, I had an amazing mother, great father. They've been together, they're never divorced. I come from a very stable family, a very healthy family. Older brother and sister, they love me. I love them. Like, there was no trauma, none of that shit. My mum was lovely. So I grew up... I've heard this statement before. It's like, how do you create a misogynist? You give him a loving mother, and then you have him interact with women. So he's got this he has a loving mother who cares for him, who's very nice, who's genuinely a great woman. And then, so he goes out into the dating world thinking that women are like this. All women are like his mother. They're nice.
It's very interesting.
And then he gets his heart broken. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, and that's how you create misogynists. Like, misogyny is created through is created from a reaction to female behavior. It's not created out of fucking thin air. Guys don't become misogynists without interacting with women. It doesn't happen.
Interesting.
And I'm not saying you should be. I'm just saying that's how it fucking happens.
Yeah.
Now, I was raised to have respect for people, to be a polite man, to be a polite young boy, to, say hello, say thank you, open doors, like, make space on the sidewalk, these kind of things. And I was especially taught that it is very rude to ignore somebody and to not respond to someone when they're talking to you.
Yeah.
Turns out that's fucking terrible advice when it comes to women. So, because you give when, in terms of like male-female dynamics, like if you're just, it's perceived as almost like pedestalizing and needy behavior when you are constantly giving attention, unearned attention. Like, So it's okay, basically, 20-year-old Stirling. It's totally okay to ignore a woman. Your attention in your time and your attention is not her God-given right.
I think it's your currency as a man with your attention.
Yeah, of course it is. And so if you understand that, there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very simple concept.
Very simple.
It's subtle, it's simple, but it's actually quite powerful.
Well, Stirling, thank you for your honesty and for sharing your experiences. It's been an incredible conversation. To everyone watching or listening, if you've enjoyed the episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a review and share it with somebody who will genuinely get value from it. This has been your guest, Stirling Cooper. This has been episode 11 of the Manners Make of Man podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.